yeah. Thanks, David. Hi, Pete. All good, yeah?
Hi, Cork. How are you? Yeah, all good. All good.
Yeah, I'm grand, Oscar, yeah. Grand. Listen, congratulations on your selection. Is England week kind of different to most other weeks in the sense that, the rivalry between the two teams?
Look, we've huge rivalry with all the teams in the Six Nations these days. Every game is so important. But look, I'd be fooling to say there isn't something always special between the two of us. It's always a huge occasion, a huge encounter. Obviously, given the fact that they're consistently a world-class outfit, it's always a huge test of any team to play against them. So, that's the way it goes. It certainly is a huge occasion when Ireland and England play each other.
You're one of the more experienced players in the pack. You're playing around a lot of kind of younger players, for want of a better phrase. I mean, are you getting more enjoyment out of your rugby now, regardless of who you're playing for?
Look, I've been really enjoying it. When you come into Irish camp, it's always a great environment. The environment that we have here, the learning, the enjoyment levels, the people that you're surrounded by. It's a really enjoyable place to be, and the amount of learning that you get. You're always growing your game up here every day. You seem to be picking things up, and for someone who wants to get better all the time, it's a great environment to be in. So yeah, look, whether you're around some of the older heads or the younger guys, it's good fun at the moment.
Can I ask you just about England? I know you have been concentrating a lot on yourselves this week, but what are you expecting from this England team at Twickenham on Saturday?
Look, I think we've seen some of the best versions of what they can produce at times in the Six Nations. Their attacking game is obviously very impressive when they're flowing. I think Marcus Smith has brought real attacking edge to them. Slade as well. I think the two of them are combining up very well. Obviously, the English packs, that speaks to themselves, the way they operate with their set piece. Their general play around the pitch, their physical team. So, I've no doubt that they're probably going to bring their best performance of the tournament this weekend. Being back at home, being us, you know what I mean. I'm sure they're going to bring their best game yet. So that's what we got to prepare for, and hopefully we bring our best game as well.
Cheers, mate. Have a good game.
Thanks.
See ya.
I think Peter, Joe here from Virgin Media. How are you today?
Very good, thanks, Joe.
You look, you're very familiar with the fixture.
Sorry, Joe. Sorry, Joe. If someone there has got something playing in the background, could I make sure that it's muted? You can hear some news feed coming through the back end there.
Apologies, that could actually be on my end, guys, but I'll leave the room and I'll ask the next question if that's okay.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, we bounce on to somebody else there, please.
Hi, Peter, how are you?
How's the form?
Good, can I just bring you back to the Munster or Wasps match, the first game, Pat Campbell's try, just in the build up to that, you cleared out Jimmy Goppert. It was one of the sweetest hits I think I've seen in a long time. Have you worked on your technique over the last few months in that, or is it something if you're in the moment like that, instinct takes over?
Well, certainly the breakdown area is always somewhere. I think every player needs to be evolving and all the time. It is the heartbeat of the game, regardless of what kind of game plan or game style you're playing. So I think every player, no matter where you are, is constantly trying to upskill in that area. But yeah, there's a lot of it is instinct as well. It's trying to be ahead of the game and know where the breakdown is going to happen. And I suppose it's kind of one of the last areas that's that you can bring, you know, proper physicality and that kind of thing. So but it's certainly about training and upskilling all the time is paramount in that area. You're on mute there, kid.
Yeah, thanks. And just wondering, from the match 2 years ago when Ireland played the Six Nations over there, and like I think Johnny described some of the things as silly or stupid, how much more mature are the team 2 years on from that game, and maybe some of the things that went wrong in that game? Do you think you're in a better place to deal with them should something similar happen on Saturday?
Yeah, well, look, we're 2 years down the line. It's a long time in rugby. They're also 2 years down the line. You know what I mean? So games evolve, game plans evolve. We certainly feel like that we're improved, and you know we've had that game and lots of other games that we've taken lessons and learnings from that hopefully we've banked and we'll bring into the weekend. But look, I've no doubt they've done the same. You see the way they've evolved as well. They're different style of rugby as well. So you know you got to roll with it. You know, I've always been someone who's, you know what I mean, you got to take your learnings and you got to bank them. You can't just tick a box the following weekend or say this happened, we'll sort that, and then move on 6 or 8 weeks down the line and you're saying things are happening again. So we think we've improved and we're a long way down the line with the way we've developed our game plan, our skills, or I suppose even our understanding of what we want to do and why we want to do it. Hopefully we've banked those learnings.
Very good. And just when you were talking to Michael about playing England, and you've mentioned before about the nerves in the build-up to a game, do you be more nervous building up to an England game than any other game?
No, I don't think so. I think rugby in general, professional rugby, every game is hugely important, whether it's with club or country. Obviously, you know, country is different to club. There's no point in saying otherwise, but it's every game is so important. Every game brings massive nerves for me still. You know, literally 24 hours out, you know, still feeling physically ill, you know, with what's coming up, the battle, the stipulations, you know, wanting to play well, not wanting to let people down. You know, that doesn't change regardless of who your opposition is. You know, that's always in the forefront of your mind.
Good man, best of luck.
Thank you.
Hi Peter, how's it going? Andy always speaks very complimentary about you around the environment and getting stuck into that side of it. What have you enjoyed about working with Andy and his approach to that side of things away from the actual being on the pitch?
Look, he's created a great environment from a learning point of view. There isn't a silly question to be asked. If there's ever, we're very much a kind of an environment that asks the question. You know, we want clarity, we want understanding. You know, he really provides an environment that facilitates guys getting an understanding in the game, be it from him or other coaches or other players in your position or different positions. You know, we all try and help each other out. You know, he's developed an environment that is, you know, it's just a pleasant place to be all the time. Obviously, when you cross the line in training, there's a huge intensity, and even a lot of times when you're not on the pitch, it's very intense with regard to our learning and our video work, you know, our little chats, little groups, that kind of thing. But you know, he's kind of given the tools back to us to really figure out our game and what our strengths are and our weaknesses and what we need to do to work on them. So, you know, he's facilitated a really pleasant environment to get better as a player, and that be it, you know, a guy coming in for his first time being in a group or a guy playing 10 years on, there certainly isn't a player here who isn't learning every single day he's in Irish camp.
Has his approach to actual rugby then pushed and developed you as a player? He mentioned your set piece breakdown stuff, obviously, but he felt the other sides of your game have pushed on. Have you felt that yourself personally?
Yeah, I have. Well, it has to all the time when you're talking about international rugby, and the quality of the group we have. You look at the back row competition that we have. If you're stood still and you think that you're going well, then there's going to be players pass you out, and you've got to keep moving, and he's given us the platform. Paul, Foggs, Caddy, Simon, they've given us the platform to have our capacity kind of. There's no kind of level really, you know what I mean? It depends on you and how much you want to go after it, and how much you want to get better. And as I said, that goes for any, whether you're young or old, new in or been here for a long time. Your capacity to get better, the only person that's probably stopping it is you. And as I said, the competition there, you look at guys like Nick Timoney, obviously the guys who are in very regularly, it's a world class, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 back row players is what you're talking about. So it's an environment that if you're not getting better, you're going to be passed out very, very quickly. But at the same time, it's an environment that you're facilitated to get better all the time. So it's very enjoyable.
Thanks very much. Enjoy the weekend.
We'll take the last couple, guys. Joe, do you want to try and jump back in there?
Yeah, I just have one quick one, Peter. You've been part of the 2018 team that won in Twickenham, and it was only 2 teams that won there in the last decade, so you know how to get over the line there. What are the key battles that you need to get right and win in Twickenham to silence the crowd, to get that momentum behind you? What are the real things you need to focus on Saturday?
That's a good question, but at the same time, there is no one or two areas. You have to have, I'm not going to say an immaculate performance because that's not going to happen, but you've got to have one of your best when you're playing against the best to win away from home, particularly in this competition. You see the stats on how hard it is to pick up away wins, particularly going. I think England are up around 86, maybe more % of home victories. It's a difficult place to go and win. So if you want to go and win there, you can't say set piece has got to go well and your breakdown's got to go well, because if your defence isn't good enough, you're going to concede points. So it's got to be one of our best performances to win in Twickenham.
Good luck. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. We'll wrap it up.
Oh, can I have a question, Dave?
Yeah, okay, go for it.
Sorry, Peter. Sorry, you mentioned your experience at Twickenham before. You've had a couple of tough days. You've been under the cosh there in the past, going back 10 years even. Do you allow the emotional side of things, how that felt? Do you allow that to inform your mental preparation for the game, or is it all technical these days?
Oh, there are certainly days you don't forget about, but they're certainly in the past. That was different time, different team, different game almost. Sorry, not almost. It was a different rugby game to the game we're playing today. But you always have those emotional scars, is the only way to describe them, in your career. So they stay with you forever. But they're not something that I was thinking about this week. They're past. They're probably molded me as a rugby player, but they're not something that I go back to very often anyway. They're something that have been there, and I've certainly learned lessons from. But I suppose the other side of it is, if you're not on your game in Twickenham against these guys, you know what I mean. These are the kind of things that happen. You know what I mean. They're a very, very good team, and if you're not on your game to a very, very high level, they can score points quick. So, I suppose that's the way I look at it.